Hi everyone. So today we'll be discussing on the topic Euler's Totient function algorithm, right? So this is denoted by this. Yep. Usually we denote that one by like this, right? So usually we denote this one like this. Yep. So Euler's Totient function gives what does it give actually? It gives the count of positive integers that is less than or equal to n that are co-prime with n. So this part is very important, that are co-prime with n. Yep. Two numbers are co-prime if their GCD is equivalent to the 1. Yep. First, let me tell you Euler's totient function, nothing but totient of n, whatever I have written here. So this gives the count of positive integers that is less than or equal to n. So this is very important, that are co-prime with the n, that are co-prime with the n. Two numbers are co-prime if their GCD equal to 1, meaning here GCD has to be equivalent to the 1, right? GCD has to be equivalent to 1. Yep. So this is fine. We know now. We have certain idea now through the definition part. Now let's move on with the explanation part. So first what we'll do, we'll start with the result that is equivalent to n. First what we'll do, we'll start with a result that is equivalent to n. So after starting with the result that is equivalent to n, we'll iterate through all the possible prime factors, nothing but the p of n. So p is nothing but the prime factor. We'll iterate through all the positive prime factors only. We'll start with the result. We'll iterate through all the possible prime factors p of n. So if p divides n, right, the number that we are considering first, the number, right? So within the iteration, if p divides n, then we will remove all the occurrences of p from n. So then we'll subtract result by p from the result. Then what we'll do, we'll subtract result by p from the result. So this is one step that we have to remember at any cost. After loop, if n is greater than 1, it is a prime factor, quite obviously. If n is greater than 1, it is prime factor. After that, we'll be subtracting a result by n, right? So final result is nothing but a totient of original n, totient of n or totient of original n. So see, so this is the algorithm. Mainly, what we'll do, let's try to implement the same thing in the form of code. You'll understand this one even better. Yeah. If you didn't understand certain thing, we'll be considering the example, and we'll be implementing the same thing in the form of code, and we'll be dry running the code. You don't have to worry currently, right? So we'll understand this one step by step correctly, right? So first thing what we'll do, so within the main, so first thing, let me consider here one more method named phi, right? So I'll just go with here public. So let me type this one. This was not showing anyways. So I'll just go with the static here. Let me go with int. I'll just go with a 5, right? So this one, I need one parameter named n. I need one parameter named n. So within this particular method, first thing, accordingly with the algorithm, we have to initialize the result as totient of n that starts with the n. So I'll consider the result variable and let me assign this one to the n. Yep. So this is fine. Next, let's move on with the for loop. For loop, what we have to do, we have to iterate till square root of n. So for that, I'll just go with for int I equals to 2. Yeah, not I, basically we have to go with p. P equals to 2. P into p, that is less than or equal to n. Then I have to increment the p plus plus. Yep. So within the for loop, what we have to do, we have to check if the p is prime factor or not, right? So if n modulo p that is equivalent to 0, right? We are checking if the p is prime factor, right? So within this particular if condition, so let me write the while loop here. If n modulo p is equivalent to 0, same thing within the while, right? So I'll just go with n modulo p is equivalent to 0. Then we have to remove all the occurrences of the p. We have to remove all the occurrences of the p. See here, this part actually. If p divides by n, if p divides n, so first we will be iterating through all the this one possible prime factors p of n. That's what we have done here, right? After that, we are if p divides n, then we have to remove all the occurrences of p from n. That's what we are doing. Now, if n modulo p equivalent to 0, then we have to remove all the occurrences of p, right? So I can just write in this way: n equals n by p. N equals n by p. So this is fine. I'll just come out of this one entirely. Now we have to apply the formula result equals result into 1 minus 1 by p. 1 minus 1 by p. So I'll just write in this way: result variable that we have considered equals result minus result by result by p. So this is fine. So I'll just come out of this one entirely. Now what we will do, if remaining n is a prime, then we have to apply the final prime factor. That's what we have to do. So I'll just go with if n greater than 1, if n greater than 1, then let me go with, sorry, let me go with result. Why this is not showing? Anyway, let me type this one. Why this is not showing actually? Within this itself we are writing, right? 1 second. What happened here? Just give me a second here. 1 second. Yeah. What mistake I have done here is, so this one I have not opened flower bracket here, right? So let me have one more flower braces here. Yep. So let me format the code once. So now after this, I'll just come out of this one. Let's start writing the code. If suppose n is greater than 1, suppose if n is greater than 1, I mean if the remaining n is prime accordingly with the algorithm actually. Yep. So we have already subtract result by p from the result, right? So now after the loop, if n is greater than 1, it is the prime factor, right? Accordingly with the algorithm, if n is greater than 1, then it is the prime factor. So how can I write this one in the form of code? If n is greater than 1, then I'll just go with the result actually. Result equals result minus. Mm, so this one we have already written, right? So again, result equals result minus result by, instead of p, it's a prime factor, right? So all we have to do is result by n, result by n. It's as simple as that. If remaining n is prime, then we are applying the final prime factor that we have already done actually. So we are left with only one step, nothing but all we have to do is we have to return totient of n, nothing but totient of original n, right? So we just have to return the result variable. So I'll just go with the, sorry, this is not the result one. This is the return actually. Anyways, now the error should be gone. Yeah. So let me format the code once. Yeah. So we are done with this part. We are done with this part. We do not have any error. So this is it for the algorithm part actually. This is it for the algorithm part. Whatever the code that we have written within the public method 5, right? So this one. Yep. This is fine. We are done. We don't have any typos, I believe, and we are not having any errors, right? So yep, this is fine actually. This was the main problem. I didn't open the bracket here, right? So that was the main problem. Anyways, so now what we are going to do, so this is it for the all go. So next, let's go with one simple example. Yeah, we need to demonstrate, right? So we'll be going with a dry run after the code. So let me consider one simple example. I'll just go with n equals 10, some random number. Yeah. So then we have to output the totient of 10, 5 of 10. So I'll just go with here s out system out println. So this one, let me go with 5 of this one n. Yeah, 5 of n, nothing but quotient of n. So this is fine. Now, yep. So if I run the code actually, before running the code, let's do one thing. Let's dry run the code. Let's dry run the code so that we get to know whatever the code that we have written is correct or not. So that we'll get to know. Along with that, we get to know about the output part as well. Along with that, we get to know about the output part as well, right? So let's check whether whatever the code that we have written is correct or not, and the output, right? So if everything goes well, there actually we'll be getting to know about the output as well. If uh, everything goes well, then we can come later here and we can run the code that we can do. First, let's dry run the code. So let's do one thing. Yeah, let's dry run the code. Yep, by considering the same example that we have considered within the code. Yep. So n, let's do one thing. Let's consider this one 10. Yeah, n. Let's consider this one 10. A result, I'll just go with a 10 as well. Result, let me go with a 10 as well. So n 10, result 10. Now the loop starts actually. Whatever the loop that you have written, for loop, first for loop, right? You can just look into the code. Yep, you can just look into the code. Now the loop starts actually. What happens? P, initially P will be 2. Initially we'll be checking for the 2. So we'll check for the 2. 0, 1, 0 and 1 are not the prime numbers. We'll ignore that one and we'll start from the 2. So we'll check for the 2. We'll check for the 2. 2 divides 10. 2 divides 10. Yeah. 2 divides 10, right? So 2 divides 10 here. So this is one thing. So what we'll do, we'll remove 2. First, what we'll do, we'll remove 2. That we will do. So this is fine. After removing 2, so n becomes 5. Yeah, n becomes 5. 2, this one. 10 by 2, 5, n becomes 5 actually. Result result variable that we have considered. So result equals, we will be going with a formula, right? So we'll be going with a formula 10 minus 10 by 2 that we have mentioned in the code. 10 minus 10 by 2 that is equivalent to 5, right? 10 minus 10 by 2 that is equivalent to the 5, right? So this is for the 2 actually. Next, loop ends, right? Loop ends in the sense, so let me write this one, or else it's easier to understand if I write this one. This one is nothing but p into p greater than n, right? So that's the reason loop ends here, right? So remaining n is greater than 1, right? So we have to check for within the code actually if n is greater than 1, right? Then it is a prime factor. So that one we have to do, right? Remaining, if n is greater than 1, if n is greater than 1, n is equivalent to 5, n is equivalent to 5, and result, this part, result equals 5 minus 5 minus 5 by 5, right? 5 by 5, that is nothing but equivalent to 4. 5 by 5 becomes 1. 5 minus 1 leads to 4. 5 minus 1 leads to 4. So final answer, let's go with a final answer, right? Let's go with a final answer. So what would be the final answer here? What would be the final answer? Totient of this one, 5 of 10, or totient, whatever you call it actually, 5 of 10, this will lead to 4 actually. This will lead to 4. This one itself. Yep, the final result is nothing but 4, right? N is greater than 1. So we'll be considering 5 here. Result will be going with 5 by 5 minus 5 by 5 accordingly with the code that we have written, that leads to the 4. So final result is nothing but 4. 5 of 10 is nothing but 4. So key formula that we have made use of here. So key formula that we have made use of here. One second. What happened to this one? Yeah. Key formula that we have made use of here is nothing but, one second. Yeah, we have went with this formula actually. Phi of n here, nothing but the totient function. So I'll just go with n into, I can just represent in this way, p by n, uh, n, not p by n actually, p. So this is fine. So this is nothing but 1 minus 1 by p. So this is the main formula, right? So this is the main formula behind the code. Yep. So this we need to know. This we need to know. Yep. This we need to have idea on, right? So this is it for the Euler's totient function actually. So this is the output that we need to get accordingly with the code that we have written. So we have seen this one step by step accordingly with the code that we have written. Yep. So we have already done the code, right? And this is the formula that we need to remember when it comes to Euler's totient function. Yep. So this is the key formula behind the code that we have written. Yep. So now we have the complete idea. We have the complete idea on the code that we have written. Let's do one thing. Let's go to the coding part and let's run the code that we have written. So I'll just come here. Let me run the code. Yeah. So let's see. If everything goes well, we have to get the output 4, right? Let's see. There are no typos actually. Yeah. Let's see. Let's hope we get the correct output. So I can clearly see here we have got the output 4, means meaning we have written the code correctly, right? So whatever the code that we have written works absolutely correct. So we had try run the code actually. We had try run the code. So accordingly with the code itself, this one we are getting the output 4. We had try run the code. We have got the desired output as well now. So we have discussed the code step by step. We are left with only one thing, nothing but discussing the complexities, right? Accordingly with the code that we have written. Let's discuss the time complexity and the space complexity for the code that we have written. So what would be the time complexity here? Um, this time complexity would lead to pico of square root of n. Yeah, pico of square root of n. And the space complexity would lead to pico of 1. As we are not making use of any extra variables, the space complexity would lead to pico of 1. And the time complexity would lead to pico of square root of n. Just remember this one. Yeah, the time complexity and the space complexity for the code that we have written would lead to pico of square root of n and pico of 1 respectively, right? So this is it for the Euler's totient function algorithm. Yep. So this is it for the Euler's totient function algo. So next we will be discussing on the topic Mobius function, right? Mobius function. For now, this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.